Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to the channel. Today I want to talk to you guys about 3 myths about meth. That took me forever to say, so there's that. Anyway, hope you guys are all doing good. If you watched my last video, if you didn't, I'll put it up here or whatever side of the daggone screen it's on. I can never remember. But I was talking about some of the uh walls that I've been beating my head up against trying to find a couple people that are active users of methamphetamine treatment. And during my research and going through all of this, I have learned a lot. But there are 3 things that I want to share with you guys today to help crush the stigma, spread knowledge about this because there's a lot of misinformation out there about stimulant use and methamphetamine in particular. And I know that in my area, meth use is going through the roof right now. Anything about substance use disorder or recovery and stuff like that is always interesting to me. And you guys know, if you've watched any of my videos before, that I have a big problem with stigma. And there is a lot of stigma in this area. I just want to do everything that I can to kind of help smash that stigma and make sure that I'm putting out the right information for you guys so you know it. And if you hear somebody saying something, that isn't true or whatever, you have the knowledge to correct them. And I don't say that in a bitchy way, even though it sounds that way. But, if more of us within these communities, like the recovery community, um, the harm reduction community, etc., don't start speaking up and getting rid of all the lies and misconceptions and myths there are floating around out there, then it's just going to continue to get worse. It's like a snowball effect. And the longer time has gone on, the worse everything gets. I just want to help get rid of all that stigma and the misinformation if I can. So, the first one that I want to talk to you guys about is a common thing that people think about people who use meth is that their brain function is severely lowered. And once it's lowered, then they can never get that back. And that is untrue. When you use methamphetamine, it does affect the structure of your brain. And I don't mean the structure like, how it's built. I mean how it functions. Proven, like there's been studies done. You can talk to people that used to use meth that are in recovery now or that actively use meth right now, and they will tell you that they have noticed a sometimes significant change in the way that their brain functions. I just wanted to come on and tell you guys that that is not a permanent thing. A lot of people have the misconception that once you do damage to your brain with drug use, and not just methamphetamine, but opiates, any type of drug that you use, that any of the damage that is done to you is a permanent thing. And that's just not true. With, treatment and time, your brain function after you use methamphetamine can be restored. Now, I can't come on here and say definitively that you're going to get everything back, the way that it used to be before you used, because sometimes that's just not the case. There are some people that, you know, a couple years after they have stopped using and they're in treatment and they're getting the help that they deserve, then yeah, they do. They say, yeah, I feel the same. But there are also people that say that they don't. And I know that even though meth wasn't my drug of choice, I have experienced this myself. I have significant memory problems. And, after talking to many doctors about this and asking a lot of questions, I have realized that a lot of my memory loss is because of my drug use. I have caused damage to my brain. And, some of the doctors that I've talked to about my memory loss and how I struggle remembering things, they say, yeah, it will come back. And some of them say, no, it won't. So, over the years, since I have gotten into recovery, I have just made like a certain way I go about things to help me remember stuff. And when I say that I have memory loss, I don't just mean, all of us experience like walking into a room and you forget why you're walking into that room. Mine is worse than that. Like I have trouble remembering, and this is a new thing. Actually, I talked to Keith about it a couple weeks ago. I have trouble remembering if I brush my teeth that morning. So sometimes, it's not a bad thing, but sometimes I'll brush my teeth probably 4 or 5 times a day. So once I noticed that that was something that I was struggling with as far as my memory goes, once I brush my teeth in the morning, I will either like move my toothbrush to a different spot in my toothbrush holder, or I'll come and write it down in my planner. I've realized that having my planner with me is a very valuable tool for my recovery. And we could talk about that in another video, but I just want to show you guys so this is the daily layout that you get in my planner. And when I do brush my teeth in the morning just to help me remember, or like when I take my medicine, because sometimes I can't remember that, I will just write it down here at the top. So that way, after I eat lunch or something and I'm sitting here and I'm like, did I brush my teeth this morning? I can go and look in my planner and I'm like, oh, yeah, I did. Or no, I didn't. Like, go brush your teeth, nasty. I've noticed in doing my research and the more I'm learning about methamphetamines and stimulant use, that's something that a lot of people think and they say, once someone uses meth for an extended period of time and it affects their brain function, that's something that they never get back. And that's just not true. So I just wanted to let you guys know that because, if anybody out there is watching and you are a meth user, don't lose hope. Don't think that your brain is going to function the way that it is right now while you're using, or if you're in early recovery, don't think that that's going to be a permanent thing because, it doesn't necessarily have to be that way. The second thing I want to talk to you guys about that is a myth is meth mouth. And I hear this all the time. The town that I live in is actually called Meth Mountain by the locals. That's what they call the town that I live in because we have a bad meth problem around here. And we have for years. This is not a new problem in my area. It's escalating, but it's not a new problem. Methamphetamine is something that has been in the area that I live in for a very long time. A common misconception is that, if you use meth in any way, shape, or form, that your teeth are going to be all messed up and you're going to have meth mouth. It doesn't directly cause you to have like problems in your teeth. It doesn't directly cause the decay and things like that we often associate with people that use meth, or that we assume people are using meth, because a lot of that's what that is. It's just an assumption. When you see someone that is a person who uses drugs and they do have problems with their teeth, it's not necessarily correlated with the drug that they are using. It's more probably directly related to the fact that they have let their personal hygiene go and their lifestyle choices. We're not taking care of our bodies when we're in an active addiction. Sometimes the food that they choose to eat is not the greatest food that you could put in your mouth. And on top of that, and this isn't just directly for people that use meth, it's anybody that is suffering with an active addiction right now. Our hygiene is a lot of times on the very bottom of our priority list. If you take the fact that they are suffering through an active addiction right now, and then their poor hygiene, poor dental hygiene, down here at the bottom, when you're in active addiction, your main priority is to get and use your drug of choice. So all the other things, tend to fall to the wayside. And there are people that use drugs who are high functioning addicts. I'm considered a high functioning addict because outwardly, not a lot of people could tell that I was suffering with an addiction. They couldn't tell by looking at me. Really, the only thing that's changed since I got into recovery is that I gained some weight. Some weight. But a lot of people that were around me, even on a daily basis, didn't realize that I was fighting an active addiction every time they were around me. Telling people or assuming that people have meth mouth, if you see that they have bad teeth or they're missing teeth or whatever the case may be, is highly, highly stigmatizing. Highly stigmatizing. There's a lot of people that, don't have teeth at all and they've never used drugs. It can be genetic, there's so many factors that can go into why people have problems with their teeth. And it doesn't always have to be that they're a drug user. That's just a complete and total myth. So, one other dangerous thing about that is that when we categorize things like, bad teeth and stuff like that, meth mouth, it can give people that are using meth a almost false sense of security, because if we categorize that as meth mouth and someone is out there using, and they go in the bathroom and they look at their teeth, or they don't have problems with their teeth, whatever the case may be, that can give them a false sense of security and make them justify their use in their mind and say, well, I don't, my problem really isn't that bad, or I don't have a problem at all because look at my teeth, look at my skin, look at whatever it is, fill in the blank. So we really need to be careful about things like that. And that one kind of rolls into the last one that I was going to tell you guys about. And another one that I hear all the time, and it pisses me off when I hear people say it, going down the street, or you see people do it all the time, pick up their phone and film a complete stranger that they don't know in public and say, oh, look at the meth head. You cannot look at someone and tell that they're using meth every time. If you know the person and you know that they're using meth, then that's a different story. But just to look at someone and judge them by the way they look or their behavior or etc., if that's what you're doing to categorize people and say, oh, so and so did this one thing and I know that they're using meth, well, that's bullshit. Many people who use meth are functioning users. You would be really surprised, actually, if you knew how many people use meth, and they're functioning. They go to work every day, they pay their bills, they have a home, sometimes they have children, they take care of their children, they take care of their families. One of the things that aggravates me so much about this war on drugs that we are fighting is obviously the stigma. You guys hear me talk about that all the time. But the blanket statements that get thrown around in this community and in the recovery community and just about people in general, that if you look a certain way or you behave a certain way or you do certain things, that you have to be someone who's using drugs. And a lot of times, you guys, that's not true. Addiction does not care who you are, what you do, how much money you have in the bank. It doesn't care. It has nothing to do with any of that. Just looking at people and saying that they have meth mouth, or that you can look at someone and tell if they're using meth, or, whatever the case may be, is total bullshit. And we shouldn't be doing it. It's highly, highly stigmatizing and highly hurtful to so many people. So I just want you guys to be conscious of that stuff. The goal of my channel is just to spread factual knowledge, to you guys, so we can help lower the stigma and we can help all the people out there that are ready to get help. That is my main goal of my channel. So that's why I wanted to come on today and share these 3 myths with you guys. I hope that you are all doing good. You guys know the drill. If you need me, all my contact information is always in my description boxes below. Take care of yourself. Take care of each other and be nice to each other. I love y'all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.